Today we'll be discussing reptiles, their cousins, the amphibians, and their ancestors, the dinosaurs. It's an odd family, but I'll bet that by the end of this program, you'll have warmed up to them. It's impossible to take an interest in mythology or psychology without running into the snake. It's one of the most powerful symbols there are. It has been associated to the soul, basic impulses, the libido. Snakes are only one of the many members of the reptile family. Reptiles include alligators and crocodiles, lizards, and other strange relatives like iguanas and turtles. To say that reptiles are great second cousins to our great-great-grandparents is kind of hard to believe. And yet we can speak of our ancestors, the reptiles. Reptiles inspire fear, even repulsion, in many people. Very few of us are able to feel any sympathy or fondness for these scaly creatures. And yet reptiles have played a crucial role in the evolution of life on Earth. Descendants of marine life forms, reptiles were the first vertebrates, that is, the first animals with spines who spent their whole lives on land. Then, during the course of time, a number of them evolved as birds and mammals. Even our species has traces of its reptilian forebears. For example, we inherited the primitive part of our brain, where our basic impulses and emotions are stored, from the reptiles. So we have good reason to learn to care about these creatures from another age. Today, there are roughly 6,000 species of reptiles known to man. The class of reptiles encompasses animals as diverse as lizards, snakes, turtles, and crocodiles. All these reptiles have common systems of adaptation that enable them to survive and to multiply in Earth's various environments. All reptiles are covered with scales. These scales, quite different from the scales of fish, are formed by creases in the animal's skin, which is thick and callous. Scales help to check water loss. More waterproof than mammals' hides, they enable many reptiles to withstand the aridity of deserts. In spite of this protection, reptiles do not have the advantages of birds and mammals who are homolothermous, or warm-blooded. That is, they maintain a constant and warm body temperature. Birds and mammals remain active at all times, in very hot or very cold temperatures. Reptiles, however, are poikilothermous, cold-blooded, animals whose body temperature varies with the external environment. They are incapable of controlling their body temperature. When the temperature falls, their body temperature falls with it. The reptile then goes into a state of torpor, during which its vital functions are slowed down. The animal only resumes activity when the external temperature rises again. While unable to control their body temperature directly, reptiles have acquired some measure of control over it indirectly. For instance, by warming themselves in the morning sun, some reptiles manage to raise their body temperature and move about. Conversely, by adopting nocturnal habits, desert reptiles prevent their body temperatures from rising excessively, which could endanger their organism. The sensory organs of reptiles are totally unlike other vertebrates. Snakes, for example, smell through the combined action of their tongues and two dimple-shaped organs, Jacobsen organs. The Jacobsen organs located on either side of the snout are equipped with numerous nerve endings. By flicking its tongue out repeatedly, a snake picks up odorous particles on the ground or in the air and deposits them on the dimples. The Jacobsen organs transmit the sensory messages to the brain of the snake, who then perceives the smell. So when snakes flick their tongues in and out, it's their way of smelling. Reptiles also have developed highly effective means of defense and attack. The venom produced by some snakes and lizards is one of their most virulent weapons. Venom is nothing more than modified saliva. The organ that produces and administers venom is similar to a syringe. It consists of glands, a venom canal, and 2 fangs, or modified teeth. When a snake bites its prey, muscles squeeze the venom glands and make the venom shoot out into the canal that carries it to the fangs, which then inject the venom into the victim. Like their aquatic ancestors, reptiles reproduce by spawning. However, reptile eggs are better adapted to a land environment. Reptiles were the first animals to lay eggs with a calcareous shell and a series of internal membranes. The shell and membranes are relatively airtight and enable the embryo to develop inside the egg as if it were in a water environment. This invention of the reptiles was to prove a fantastic success. The birds inherited their method of reproduction directly from their reptilian ancestors. Reptiles have but a small place in our lives. Still, they contributed a great deal to building the living world as we now know it. Reptiles are not the only ones to have a bad reputation. Their cousins, the amphibians, are not very popular either. In the Middle Ages, any witch worth her salt always added a few toads to her magical concoctions. And rightly so, perhaps, for the skin of numerous amphibians, frogs, toads, or salamanders does indeed contain toxic substances. However, as a rule, they only serve to protect the animals from predators. No one has seen a frog turn into a prince yet, but some species of frogs have powers that are just as amazing. Most living beings on the planet inhabit one or the other of 2 main life environments, land or water. But a small group of animals live on the border of both these worlds. These creatures, called amphibians, live on land but return to the water to reproduce. Until the emergence of amphibians about 350 million years ago, no animals lived on the planet's emerged land, save a few worms and insects. Most forms of animal life were confined to the oceans. A number of fish gradually underwent transformations that enabled them to live on dry land. Over time, their fins became more leg-like, allowing them to move about on land. They also developed lungs so they could breathe air, as the presence of inner nostrils on fossils proves. The amphibians were born. They were an essential link in the history of life. Part fish, part reptile, they were an intermediary between both animal groups during the slow evolution of the species. Amphibians were the first 4-legged vertebrates to be able to breathe gaseous oxygen. Today's amphibians include toads, frogs, tree frogs, salamanders, and tritons. Even though millions of years separate these amphibians from their forebears, they still have not quite managed to fully conquer the land environment. This has forced them to develop vital systems that are as efficient on land as they are in water. Amphibians are therefore equipped with a dual respiratory system. With their lungs, they are able to take in oxygen in the air. but they also breathe through the skin that covers their bodies and the inside of their mouths. Kept constantly moist by a mucus, their skin lets the oxygen in the air directly through to the animal's bloodstream. When an amphibian swims, cutaneous respiration is also possible, as its skin absorbs the oxygen dissolved in the water. During the life cycle of some amphibians, a third respiratory system is present: gills. Young frogs or tadpoles breathe through gills. Gills are finely ramified organs full of blood vessels through which tadpoles can absorb the oxygen in pond waters. A few rare, completely aquatic amphibians have permanent gills. The metamorphosis of most amphibians is an intriguing phenomenon. In a few weeks, it recapitulates the various stages their ancestors went through to adapt to life on land. Tadpoles, like the distant ancestors of amphibians, are entirely aquatic creatures. Gradually, their limbs and lungs grow, and they acquire a terrestrial existence. The adults must return to water to lay their eggs, which cannot survive a dry environment. Amphibians have other qualities besides that of reminding us of our marine origins. They are also unequaled biological models for the study of life's major phenomena, one of the most exciting being the capacity of living tissue to withstand freezing. Indeed, some species of amphibians from the northern regions, such as the European green tree frog, are able to survive total freezing. Thanks to this amazing capability, tree frogs can go through harsh winters unscathed. Other amphibians, unable to survive freezing temperatures, have to find shelter from the frost. This resistance to frost is unique among vertebrates. As a rule, no living cell can survive freezing. Ice crystals quickly form in any living cell subjected to frost. They cause the inner structure of the cell to tear. When the ice crystals thaw, the cell is unable to function normally and dies. The tree frog has, however, solved this problem. Its tissues contain special proteins. When the temperature drops, the proteins are secreted into areas located outside the cells. These proteins have the property of triggering the formation of ice crystals. So when the temperature falls, ice crystals form outside the cells rather than inside them. Researchers also suspect the presence of other anti-freeze proteins that coat the small ice crystals to slow down their growth. While the frog appears completely frozen, the inside of its cells is not, and the amphibian will survive the thaw. By studying this remarkable adaptation, researchers hope to achieve a highly commendable objective: freezing human organs for transplantation. Recently, another spectacular discovery was made. The skin of some species of frogs contain very powerful bacterial substances, unlike any known antibiotic. This may well prove to be a new weapon against particularly resistant strains of germs. I'd like to tell you about another branch of the great reptile family, the dinosaurs. The disappearance of the dinosaurs has puzzled many a scientist. Today, two theories are advanced to explain it, but the mystery still eludes us. In our day and age, reptiles are rather discreet creatures in the living world. There are fewer of them than birds and mammals, for instance. But that was not always so. During a very long period in Earth's history, from 225 million years ago up until 65 million years ago, reptiles reigned supreme. Myriads of reptilian species roamed the earth, oceans, and even skies. Some reptiles of that faraway era still captivate our imagination. They are the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs had to be one of nature's greatest success stories. During 160 million years, they were the undisputed masters of the earth. Some of them were the largest animals to have ever existed on land. Others were no bigger than a chicken. There were peaceful vegetarians among them, but also voracious flesh eaters. They defended themselves by means of heavy body armors or impressive horns. They all have powerful tails and limbs. And yet, mysteriously, the dinosaurs suddenly vanished about 65 million years ago. Just why such powerful animals should be completely swept away is a mystery that continues to puzzle scientists to this day. Trying to solve the mystery has proved to be real detective work. Scientists find their clues in layers of rock that are called sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks were formed by the gradual deposits on lake or seabeds of particles suspended in the water. In time, these deposits formed solid rocks. In a way, these rocks retrace the history of life. They are filled with fossils, or petrified traces of plants and animals of past ages. Numerous fossilized dinosaur bones have been uncovered. By examining these scattered impressions, scientists have been able to learn a great deal about the evolution and habits of the dinosaurs. It was also by examining sedimentary rocks that the scientists came to the conclusion that the dinosaurs became extinct suddenly. In sedimentary rocks dating back 65 million years, the sequence of the fossils changes abruptly. Only the layers of rock previous to that period contain dinosaur bones. More recent rocks are completely devoid of any such fossils. Even more astonishing, a host of other living things vanished during the same era. Marine and land animals, plants, and even microorganisms. In all, half of all the living species were wiped clean off the face of the earth. Many theories have been advanced to explain the slaughter. None has found unanimity among scientists. At present, two major theories clash: the Gradualist theory and the Catastrophist theory. For proponents of the Gradualist theory, the dinosaurs became extinct gradually through slow geological change. A number of occurrences, such as the formation of mountain chains, increased volcanic activity, and the lowering of ocean levels caused ongoing changes of climate. The dinosaurs and many other species, incapable of adapting to these constant changes in their environment, simply perished. But a number of scientists reject that theory. In their view, only a sudden catastrophe of an extraterrestrial nature could explain the extinction of the dinosaurs. According to their theory, a giant asteroid, a rock floating in outer space, collided with the Earth, spewing an immense cloud of dust into the atmosphere. The cloud prevented the sunlight from reaching the Earth for several months, causing a sort of nuclear winter. Many plant species would have died, causing the death of the animals that fed on them. Among these, the dinosaurs. This theory is one of the few based on solid evidence. In the layers of rock dating back to the era of the Great Extinction, scientists discovered high levels of iridium, a metal. Normally, iridium does not exist on the Earth's surface, but it is found in great quantities in asteroids. Research continues to try and solve the mystery. Whatever may have been the fate of the dinosaurs, their extinction has had a profound impact on the history of life on Earth. Their disappearance enabled the mammals, those furry creatures who suckle their young, to thrive. And it's one of them who currently dominates the planet. Hybrid creatures descended from the dinosaurs continue to haunt the imagination. Chinese dragons, the Loch Ness Monster, and yet direct descendants of the dinosaurs are right among us. Yes, indeed. The birds. It's uncanny to think that these graceful creatures could have been born from such clumsy, awkward ones.